What's up, everybody? It's your boy Paris, aka Hakeem, Gangsta Gone Legit GGL. Today, I want to welcome you to another episode of Real Spit from a Gangsta Gone Legit, part 2 of the infamous Palmer interview. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on,
Man, pleasure, man. Glad for you to come back and finish this interview.
No question.
So, when we were talking in part 1, we left off with you giving a message to the younger people, the youth out there, and you were talking about why they need to stay out of prisons and out the street life. Do you want to expound on that for us right now?
Me personally, a couple of things come to mind. One, I was in love with the streets. Like, I was addicted to the game. I gave my life, my blood, my soul to the game. But when I went to prison, no one wrote me a letter. No one came to visit me. No one did nothing for me. The only person that I had in my corner was my mother.
Right.
Period. And that was the person that I wasn't loyal to.
Wow.
That was the person that was telling me, you know, to leave the streets alone.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I listened to everybody except for her. In the process of doing my 27 and a half years, when I went up in there, my younger brother was 9 years old. He was dead when I came out of diabetes. I mean, I've lost so many loved ones in the penitentiary. I almost didn't come out. It's a survival game.
So, when you say it's a survival game, what do you mean?
The strong survive and the weak get preyed on. You know, and so I was up in there for assaultive behavior, and I had to maintain assaultive behavior up in there.
So that means that you were engaged in a lot of
Violence.
physical violence.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I was angry, right? And I almost never got out.
Okay. So that means you had quite a few different incidents.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, when you say the strong survive, you realize by being in there so long that the people that come in, you've seen the toughest of the tough come through that door with their chest up, and they didn't make it, did they?
It's definitely a gladiator school. Mm-hmm. It ain't no pistols up in there.
Right.
So what you do, you have to mean it.
Okay.
You know, don't start something and then get in the fetal position. Not gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your name, we talked in part 1 about your name ringing bells in the street when you were doing what you were doing. What your crime at the time was stick-ups, and your name also rung bells in the prison system because you held your own in there as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Now, why didn't you just come home and take that mentality and all the people that you met from the different hoods and just, you know, put together a bigger crime family? Why didn't you do that? What made you want to come home and change your life?
Again, right, to reiterate, when I learned about the civil rights movement, I felt ashamed. Right? It wasn't nothing to glorify. I already was a changed person, but I wasn't really conscious of the enormity of my destruction until I read about the civil rights movement. I mean, just picture this. Picture someone fighting for you and you're not even born yet. But they're fighting for you to have a better life for when you do become a part of the world. Right?
Yep.
I felt this big.
Wow.
And at that point, I made a conscious decision that I was going to never hurt my community again.
That's deep. That's deep. So your change came while you were still inside, not when you got on the streets.
But that's the difference. A lot of people who struggle to stay on the streets, they do their time, and they're really good in prison. Like, they don't get in trouble or nothing, most of them. And they get out, and they go right back to prison, right?
Yeah.
And then you have those who don't change in prison, and then they come out and go right back to prison. I didn't get out of prison and change my life. I changed my life in prison, so when I got out of prison, I was already the changed man. I remember speaking to you, and you said, sometimes I feel like I'm not in the same circle as the person that I'm speaking to. And that's correct, right? When you're in a circle and you're in it and you're in the mix, you don't see it. But when you're outside the circle looking in, you can see just how devastated it is, right? And that's the way I'm at today. Like, I can see it from the outside looking in. And what I see is a lot of problematic things. No one's telling them the truth.
Right.
Right? No one's telling them the truth.
That's right. And that's why Palmer's here on Real Spit today to tell you all the truth. So continue, my brother.
So now, the bottom line is money. Everything we're doing is the correct way of doing it. We're just not doing it on the correct stage. We're in a virtual reality. The virtual reality is this. The same way you sell dope is the same way you sell stocks. The same way you sell dope is the same way you sell real estate.
Okay.
If you had a bundle of heroin, right,
Yep.
or even a brick, one bag of heroin can cost $20. Bill Gates sells one share for $25, and 100 shares is called a bundle.
Wow.
Right?
Educate them, brother.
Yeah,
Educate.
and so, or a brick, should I say?
Okay.
A brick. And so, I said that to say this, right? We're graduating, or not graduating, but we're getting older. We're getting kept back in the same grade. But figure this, right? Here I am, say if I'm in the 5th grade and I get kept back, right? Which happened to me.
Right.
Now, if I would have stayed there, I would have been older. Say if I got kept back again, I'm still older and feel I'm looking stupid now.
Right.
Now, pretty soon I'm a grown man in the 5th grade. That's what we're doing in real life.
Wow.
We're not promoting ourselves to the next grade.
I like that. We're staying
Right?
back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
But we're getting older.
Right. Right.
Right?
So the game's changing, but we're not.
No.
Got you.
You know?
Got you. That's deep. So take me to the people. Take me back in part when you had mentioned a few people that played a key role in getting you your freedom back. Because first of all, let me be clear. In case someone has not seen part 1, Palmer Woodberry was sentenced to life in prison. He never thought that he would see the light of day again, but he did because someone seen something in him and believed in him and fought for this man's freedom. Let them know who that was, because you said that you forgot to mention a couple people.
That's right. Important people.
Okay.
Diane Wilkerson was the first person who said that she had me. She put together a dream team. Now, none of these people ever met me or didn't know me, right? But that dream team are my guardian angels. Gloria Fox, Chuck Turner, Felix Arroyo, Professor Owens, Eva Clark, Gregory Davis. Without these people, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And when I got out of prison, each of them played a role in nurturing me, right? Holding my hand, walking me through it until I was strong enough to walk on my own. And I remember that Diane Wilkerson fixed my tie and said, you owe me 2 things. You be good to your mother and you be good to yourself.
And those are promises. Did you keep those promises?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I became an entrepreneur.
Okay. So speaking of entrepreneurship, why don't you let us know what it is you're doing now? So we know where you started. You started at a very young age. You were 15 years old when you went away. 15 years old and got a life sentence. Now he's here at 54 years old. Am I correct?
That's right.
And living the life of an entrepreneur.
That's right.
You taught yourself so much.
Pete, you know, one of the things that I realized when I was locked up
What's that?
is that I'm not really supposed to be here. Like, I didn't always think that I was going to be here. I always prepared myself for this day, but I wasn't really sure. And I can't really say that because I wouldn't even be preparing myself if I didn't think that it was going to be a reality. Nevertheless, right, one of the things that I did latch on to, right, was consistency when the kids kept coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And I kept saying, yo, what's the problem? Right, here I am sitting here, you know, year after year after year after year, you coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Mm-hmm. And they had a universal response. It's hard out there. And I'm saying, what's so hard? I can't get a job. So I knew that wasn't going to be my problem, and I didn't want that to be their problem. Mm-hmm. So I started educating them with the knowledge that I had. Okay. And then when I had the opportunity, when I had a second chance in life, I remember it very well. My mom asked me, she said, what do you want? I said, a suit and tie. in a briefcase. She said, you just did 27 and a half years. That's all you want? I said, give me 2,700. So she gave me 2,700. And I said, Ma, I can't help you with nothing. I can't do nothing. Like I can't give you nothing back. The most I can do is house chores.
Was there a significance in the number 2,700?
Absolutely.
What was that?
I knew that's how much I needed to open up a Fidelity's account. And so I went to Fidelity's and I opened up a money market account because they was giving me 5% on the dollar. And the bank was giving me 0.1%. And so when I opened up this Fidelity account, I was reading the newspaper and it says ExxonMobil president made $1 billion profit. So I said, put my money on ExxonMobil. And they said, what? I said, natural gas. And I flipped it. And then I said, put that on natural resources. Then I flipped it. I said, put that on energy. And then I flipped it. I said, put that on electricity. And I was pumping electricity, energy, natural resources, and natural gases like I was a drug dealer on the block. And that's how I brought my first car and started a restaurant.
What?
And I didn't even know how to cook. So what I did was I hired my mother and all my girl cousins and their friends. I had a Haitian cook, a Spanish cook, black cooks, bakers, everything. I went to culinary school to learn how to cook. I went to the Cordon Bleu. And I picked up my knife skills and my seasoning skills, right? And then afterwards, I took the resources or the money that I made from that and I opened up a home improvement company. And all I did was empower my community.
Wow.
I was hiring people. And so in this home improvement company, I took that and I went into real estate. And that's where I'm at today.
How long was you out of prison before you started your first company?
Not even a year.
Wow. So it's really no excuse for someone to come out and tell you that they can't find a job, they can't do it.
The graduation skill that I was telling you about being kept back is real.
That's right.
All you have to do is take your skill and apply it on the correct stage and play it the exact same way, but this on the correct stage, and you'll get the right result correctly.
That makes a lot of sense. Brother, I have to ask you this. Because it intrigues me and it amazes me that and I gotta keep going back to it, that you were someone who said that they couldn't read and write. You had an angel, because that's all we're gonna call him, is an angel.
That's all it is, an angel.
Even though it doesn't matter, he punched you in your face twice. He was your angel. And see, with that point, what that proves is that you never know what's going to happen in your life that's going to change it. When you went to prison and you ran into this, he was your roommate, correct?
No.
Oh, he wasn't even your roommate.
No, we didn't have roommates in Walpole.
That's right, single cell. That's right. Oh, that's right. So he came in the cell and told you, read this book.
This guy was in prison since the early 70s, 72.
Wow.
And I came into Walpole with a bad attitude.
Right.
And he seen it.
Okay.
And he said, listen, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Now, I could have took that and said, thank you, but I said, shut the fuck up, old man.
Right.
And now he said, oh, okay, I got you. Right? First, I'm going to humble you. And then I'm going to educate you.
Wow. That's a blessing, brother.
Yeah.
That's a straight blessing. So, why don't you share with the young brothers out there a blessing for them? Just like he told you to read this book, and basically he was showing you that was going to change your life. What jewel can you drop on them to let them know how to change their life? What would you say to them?
The only thing that I would suggest is that education is education and people learn differently.
Right.
So the skill that they're learning or the skill that they have is a learned skill that is necessary to survive in society. However, the game that they're playing is not meant for them to win. The game, your life is always being recorded from day one. If you think I'm playing, in prison you have caseworkers, right? Yeah. And they got a 6-part fold on you. Right. But that's your life. If you go to City Hall right now and you say, can I have a copy of my record? They'll say, specify your request. They won't say what record. They have a record on you. They'll ask you specifically, what are you looking for in that record? Right? And so now, if you specify your request, surely they have it. They've been recording you from day one. So now here go the name of the game. If you're playing the game, the first thing you have to know all the players. You have to know the rules and recognize all the players. If you don't know the rules of the game or recognize the players, how are you going to win the game? You're playing the game with ghosts. People know you and recognize you, but you don't know who they are. So they making decisions on your life, and you have no checks and balances over their actions because you don't know who they are, where they're at. You can't win this game. Right? And so now, what I'm saying is, in order for you to win a game, you have to create the game. You have to create the stage. You have to, it's like you're walking into a wind, right? And you see the wind is coming towards you. You meet in resistance. All you have to do is turn around and walk the other way. Remove yourself, get off the stage, remove yourself from the volatile situation, right? Get on the correct stage and play the game like you've been taught to play.
Wow. That's deep right there. I like that. That's the game of life.
Absolutely.
You have to learn to play it.
That's
Man.
right.
I also would like to ask you at this point, today where you're an entrepreneur and you're doing these different ventures, do you talk to any of the younger kids at all? Have you done any mentoring since you've been home?
Absolutely.
Taught them any of things like
And this is why I want to thank you a lot, because it's in giving that we receive. This is what I learned, right? I gravitate towards power. And the power that I was gravitating towards on the streets growing up was artificial.
Was that official?
That's absolutely.
Absolutely right.
Right? God is the power. So now I'm a soldier for God. And God said to me, right, my God,
Okay.
you soldier for me, I already know what your heart desires. Right? And so I have to give back that which I've been given. I know why I'm here. I know my purpose for being here in the world. Right? And so when I got out, what I used to do was go to DYSs, right? I used to go on the streets in the belly of the beast because I speak the language. Right?
Yeah.
And I got away from that, right? Because I started making money, my life became good, right? So I started moving away, right? And my life instantly became hard.
Wow.
Right? Instantly I started struggling. And I never knew why until I met you and you reconnected me, right? This interview right here reconnects me to back and puts me back on the track, right? Where I need to be, right? When you're losing in the game, right? When I first went to prison and I started thinking about my life and actually asking myself, where did I go wrong? All I had to do is reminisce of when I was listening to my parents, right? And my life was good. So once I put myself back on that track, my life became good again. Right? And that's what you're doing for me, because I got away from what was necessary, right? You know, in this interview, hopefully, right, it reaches one person, right?
So we need to
And if it reaches one person, then I served my job, right? And I can continue to do my job, right, and hope to reach someone else, because each one teach one.
That's right.
Right? We all become a Christ when one wakes up and then wakes up another Christ. Right?
Listen, guys, you're hearing it first. This is Palmer Woodberry, a real example of a gangster gone legit.
Man.
Listen, hey, man, it was a pleasure talking to you, brother. You dropped some real jewels. And one thing I want to say to everybody, you see how I'm holding this man's hand. He has become my big brother. And I love this man. I'm so glad that everything does happen for a reason. And now I know my purpose and I know his. And his purpose in my life is definitely to help humble me and change. Because I have some little, I told you about the attitudes and stuff. And talking to this man, I've learned so much. I appreciate you, brother. And I know for a fact that we're going to make a difference in one of these brothers' lives.
My brother.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Definitely.
All right.